Hello. Hi, Tatiana. I love that you're here from Atlanta. Carolyn, good morning. Wendy, Massachusetts. Wow, that's awesome. So we're all over the country today. How cool is that? Carolyn and I are in Los Angeles. So we've got a lot of the country covered today. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you can. I had my volume down. All right, great. Really nice to see you. Wendy, have you practiced with me before? I know Tatiana has. So I am wondering if you have or not. And then anything anybody would like to share, anything you'd like me to know about, any questions you have, I'd love to hear them. Stevie, good morning. Yep, you're from Los Angeles as well. So we're all over the place. Oh, great. I'm assuming that you may have bone issues, and maybe not. Not everybody does. And then some are able to actually not have it anymore. So they can't claim that that's where they are, yet that's how they began. So let me know if there's anything you'd like to know, or any questions or anything you'd like me to know about you and your body. So I definitely have some plans for today. And my plans for today, I'm going to sit back there and say them. It's just that I can't respond to you when I'm back there because I can't see. It's too far away and I'm not near my computer. So if you want to say the thing to me, speak now or forever hold your peace. And then we can come back at the end of the practice and speak if you'd like. Okay. Yeah, and those are the places that they test. They test the hips, the femoral neck, the hip joint. So the whole, they do the greater trochanter, the femoral neck, and sometimes this part as well. And then they'll do a total hip reading. All right, well, not to worry, because there's a lot you can do and you are in the right place, I would say. All right, I'm going to go back there so I could explain what's going to happen today. And this is going to be interesting. This will be really interesting. All right. So, couple of things. When you're practicing yoga, when you're practicing the physical part of yoga, so yoga is actually physical, the asana, it's the breath work, the meditation, and the main goal of yoga when you get deep into practicing yoga is what happens at the mind. It's the management of mental energy. And even if you have a diagnosis of osteoporosis, it is in your physical body, right? That's a loss of density in the bones themselves. And then there's other factors that diminish in the body, yet it is not in our body. That diagnosis of bone loss, or anything really, the diagnosis of anything, we feel it. It affects us, whether it's in our confidence, in our level of happiness or fear. There's a lot of areas that a diagnosis of bone loss can actually have an effect. So yoga is for the mind. And first of all, it's going to give us the physical aspects. It's going to strengthen our bones, strengthen our muscles, strengthen our joints, increase the range of motion in the joints, increase the flexibility in your body, which is all really important physically for our bones and for healthy aging. And we also need the mind layer to be managed and to be exercised and healed, because it is at that layer that so much happens. That's going to determine how are you going to show up every day for yourself? How are you going to forcefully, in an appropriate manner, create bone building stimulation? And then how are you going to pay attention to the other things that are important for bone health beyond the physical, the nutrition, the management of stress? So lots of things there. And I'd say that I think yoga surpasses everything and anything when it comes to taking care of your bones, because it's got the body part physically, it's got the nutrition and what we do with food through Ayurveda and the wisdom of Ayurveda, and it has the mental emotional management of stress and of our mind. And then very empowering, because when you practice strengthening your body in the way we do here, then you actually develop that deeper sense of, I'm going to be okay, and I'm not just going to break, and I am strong. And aging doesn't mean that I'm going to be fragile and breakable and be in a bed one day and lose my independence. It does not mean that, and you have the power to make those shifts. So you're in the right place, and practicing yoga is the perfect way to achieve all of those things. all of the positive things that we want. Today's practice, the intention is going to be on the back and the side of the body. We're going to strengthen muscles in the back of the body that are responsible for joint alignment, for posture, for fall prevention, for balance. And then we're going to also do the side of the body, which also has that aspect of alignment and posture and balance and fall prevention. Some of the physical postures we're going to practice are strong, and I will give modifications. It's important that you do what's important for you. Challenge yourself appropriately. Go to your edge and then maintain what you can for as long as you can, and know what is your edge. Start to be very body aware on what you should and shouldn't be doing in your body. The way we get our bones stronger is by pulling and pushing on them. And what pulls and pushes on them are the muscles that move them and hold them together. So we strengthen our muscles, which will pull and push on our bones. And bigger, stronger muscles mean your bones have to be bigger and stronger to support those big, strong muscles. So do what you can at your pace. There's no such thing as I can't do that. There's I can do it like this. You could do it like that, but I can only do it like this, 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 or this. And it doesn't matter where you are in that spectrum. Do what you can. Load up your joints, bend, push, pull appropriately. So I'm saying that because I don't know, Wendy, what your ability is. And I've never met you or Tatiana. I know some of the other ladies here, but it's really important for me that you stay safe. And I'd say that's, staying safe is the most important thing, because you're here for healing. You're here for self-care. You're here to become stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally. So do it appropriately so you'll keep coming back for more, and you'll bring this into your life every day so that you work on being strong in your body, your bones, and your balance for the rest of your life. For today's practice, I'd like you to have some basic props. So a blanket is going to be the number one thing to have. If you had nothing else, having a blanket or two would be good enough. So a blanket at a minimum. A strap is going to be used in today's practice. So my intention was to teach today with this. I'm going to teach with this. If you do have a strap, I really recommend that you get one. If you don't, you can get them pretty inexpensively. Inexpensively, if that's a word. The straps can be purchased for a really decent price, I believe. And if that's not available to you, using a towel to pull apart or to wrap around your body and tie it if we're doing something where we're doing that. And for today's practice, because we are going to focus on the side of our body, a strap actually gives us something to push into to activate the lateral chain muscles. So we will be using the strap for today's practice. Go ahead, grab one, or grab a robe strap or a belt from your closet, something that you could tie around to actually resistance. And even those exercise bands, and especially the ones that are more strong, so they don't have a lot of give in them. We will be using a block, because having the block and being able to push into the block with our legs, with our hands, activates center midline structural muscles, which are going to strengthen your alignment and posture and focus on fall prevention. So go ahead and gather those. For today, I'm going to elevate my body to begin with to do a deep chest opener. So I have a bolster, and I know not everybody has this. The goal here is that you have this elevation in your body so that your head is higher than your pelvis, so that when you bring your arms to the side, you could get a stretch here in your chest. If you do not have anything to elevate, then you could use a blanket on the floor. And if you do not have a bolster, you could also take a blanket, fold your blanket in thirds, and go down on the ground. When we go down on the ground, you can put the blanket behind your heart so that it is this part of your spine where the blanket would be, not the upper part, but right here. So you really help to support a back bend. And that's what we're doing. We're doing supported back bend. So gather what you need, and then we will begin our practice. So setting up for this practice today, I'm going to put my blanket on the floor. So this is where my pelvis will rest. And it's just a nice thing. It's really nice to do something like this for yourself, having a little support. There's something kind of nice about it. Almost like it's like self-care, almost like somebody is taking care of you, and it happens to be you in this case. So having a blanket on the ground, I'm going to put my block and my bolster because I have these props. You could have blankets or pillows, and make sure that your head is higher than your pelvis and then your heart. And then we're going to bring ourselves, actually, before we come down, let's ground our mental energy to this moment. So let's take our thoughts from yesterday, from tomorrow, from what we're going to do an hour from now. What did we do? All the things that are happening, all the flurry of thoughts that are happening, let's bring them here. Let's bring them to this moment. Let's bring them to inside our mind and our body so we could be very connected with our body. And that's how you stay safe, is being in your body, developing your interoception, your inner body awareness, so that you could feel what is appropriate for you when you actually start to do the stronger postures to create stronger bones. So come into a seated position, whatever you'd like here. Coming into a seated position, it could be on your legs, or you could come into Sukhasana, easy seat, if that makes more sense for you. Whatever makes more sense, find a posture in your body to come into a seated position. Having a nice erect spine, you're going to take your hands to the side, exhale. We're going to inhale, let the hands find each other, whether it's on the top of your head or to the sides. You inhale out to the side. If your shoulders are not happy or a little tight right now, maybe you just bring your hands to here and then hands to heart. Hands are at the side. We inhale to gather. We exhale to find and to bring it down to our heart. Inhaling. Exhale. Close your eyes. Inhale, gather. And as your hands meet, begin your exhale. Draw your hands down to your heart. Inhale. Hands down to the heart. Be very focused on inhale, exhale. Focused on your hands finding each other and drawing them down, straight down the midline to the heart. One more. Bring your hands to your heart. Keep your hands at your heart. Press your heart to your hands to your heart. Eyes are closed. Back of the neck is lengthened. Spine is lengthened. Be in your body to notice what you notice. Any places of tension, of tightness, even if that means at the level of the mind. Noticing the energy in your body and in your mind. Bring your awareness to your eyes. Let them blink themselves open. So let it take the time it takes for the eyes to separate. Allowing that to happen naturally. We're going to come down and do a little chest expansion, stretching the spine, opening up the front of the spine. So setting up your whatever you have that's going to elevate your head and your heart above your pelvis. And then we're going to come to the side. Keep the front of your spine nice and long as you bring yourself down onto your prop, whatever that is. Keep your knees bent, your feet flat. Let your feet be wider than your body and let your knees fall in towards each other. And then bring your arms out to the side into a position where you actually feel a stretch in the front of the shoulders. Nice long spine, nice lengthened neck. Noticing a stretch, hopefully, by the chest, the shoulders. Press the heart up towards the sky. That'll help to deepen the stretch. Really open the front of your spine. Feel the stretch in the front of the spine. Mouth is closed. Gently wiggle your jaw back and forth, side to side. Let the lips touch. Let the back teeth be separated. Soften your jaw. Bring your awareness to your chest. Bring your breath to your chest. Notice your heart, the pace of your heart. And then bring the breath down to your belly. Directing the breath down to your belly. Let your mind go to your belly. Breathe to the sides of your body, the lower sides below the ribs. And then breathe into your lower back, below your ribs. Breathe to your lower back, to the pelvis, to the tailbone. Visualize the pathway of breath and feel the breath coming in and moving and stretching the low back all the way down to the tailbone. And then these last few breaths, expand your entire torso. Feel the front, the back, and the sides. And breathe all the way down to the pelvic floor so you feel the breath moving down. And then finish your last breath. Bring your arms so that your elbows come to your waist wherever you are. Take an exhale Inhale, let your arms slide towards the back wall and towards over your head, whether you're on the ground or you're supported with props. Exhale, elbows come down towards your waist. Inhale, arms go towards overhead. One more time. Exhale, elbows to waist. Inhale, arms are overhead. Bring your hands back down onto the ground. Bring your awareness to your neck. Exhale. Inhale, let your head roll slowly to one direction. Exhale, back up to center. Inhale slowly, let your neck go in the other direction. Close your eyes and feel the appropriate range of motion. Back up to center. One more each side. Inhale. Bring yourself back to a neutral. We're going to bring ourselves up, so wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Allow your eyes to blink themselves open. And then coming onto the side, if you're elevated like this, you could come to seated from here, but you want to turn to the side first. So you don't lead with your head, you don't pull with your head, you don't strain your back. We want to use the muscles of the upper body. So pushing away from the floor with the muscles to bring you away from the floor. So we're using more upper body muscles, keeping our muscles stronger because stronger muscles equal stronger bones. So working on always trying to use the muscles and keep strength in your body. So we're going to move on to warming up our body, the front of our body, the back of our body, the sides of our body. And then we're going to bring in some challenges with strength for the muscles, for the bones, and for all the connective tissue that manage those aspects of us. So we will use a bolster. You could use a bolster. You could also not use a bolster. If you have one, it's good to use it. If not, you could do this without. We're going to stretch the whole front body and the back body. I'll do it with the bolster, and if you don't have one, either don't go all the way down to the ground or roll up blankets or towels or something to be here for your belly. Folding the blanket, maybe one fold is good, or for some of you, having that double fold will be more better for your knees, more support for the knees. So whatever you'd like. You're going to come onto your blanket. Let's take the hands forward. The tushy is in the air, and then let's inhale, bring your pelvis closer to the floor. Doesn't have to go all the way, and then come back out. Spread your fingers, press your fingers into the ground. You inhale, your pelvis comes closer to the floor, your belly button comes closer to the floor, and then you come back. Keeping your head lifted the whole time. Inhale, back to neutral. Inhale, back to neutral. Now let's stretch the back. Hands are spread pretty far. You're going to bend your hips, keep your head lifted. Bending your hips, bringing your lower belly closer to your top thighs. Push your belly button up towards your spine. Tailbone is pointing back, keeping your low back neutral. Shoulder blades are on the top of your spine to help your spine from collapsing. Head is active and forward. You exhale all the way back, lengthening your spine, lengthening the back body and some of the upper body. Inhale back up to neutral. Exhale, bend the hip joint. Toenails are on the ground. Push the belly button to your spine. Tailbone leads the way. Head is lifted and active. Fingers are pressing into the ground. You inhale to come forward, back to a neutral, and then you exhale to move back. Feel what you feel, notice what you notice. Stretching your shoulders, stretching your spine. Exhale, leading with the tailbone, belly button pressing up towards the spine. And then bring yourself back up. Bring yourself all the way up. Notice the tension maybe in the hands and in the wrists. Very important part for bone health to keep this part of you nice and strong. So feel your wrists here. Take your hands, move your fingers, open and close your hands. Do it pretty strong. So you actually feel tension. You feel the muscles having to work here. Open and close. And then take your wrists, move your wrists around in one direction and then in the other. So let's do, we'll do the first posture, which is not really a posture. It's a way to stretch the wrists. Take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Slide the shoulder blades on your back. Keep them there. Bring your hands forward. Take the left wrist over, Bring your hands forward. Flip your thumbs down towards the ground so the backs of the hands are facing each other. Palms are facing out. Take the left hand over the right hand. Clasp your hands. Lower your shoulders from your ears. Notice if your shoulders hiked up. Push them down. And slowly start to bring the hands down. Start to bring them through and back up. Go slow here. You're rotating that left wrist, pulling on that left wrist joint. So creating some bone building stimulation for your left wrist and stretching the tissues of your left wrist so that your wrists will have more mobility. So if you do slip, trip, or fall and you need to break your fall, you'll have access to more range of motion in your wrist. Lower your shoulders, lift your heart. Keep your hands away from your body. Lowering them may intensify the stretch. So feel a pretty intensified stretch in your left wrist. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly unwind. Bring yourself back, noticing that tension that was created in the left arm. Take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Keep the shoulder blades on the back of your body. Bring your hands forward. Thumbs rotate down towards the ground. Backs of the hands face each other. Right wrist over left, and then clasp your hands. Lower your shoulders. Bring your hands down. Bring them through, and bring them up. To the place of tension. Where do you feel the appropriate tension? Elbows to the side, hands pushing away from the body. Lowering them may create a little more tension. Pushing them away from your body may create more tension. Go to the place of what's appropriate for you. Deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring your hands out. Take your hands, shake your hands. It's open and close. So keeping the bolster there, we're going to do a little flow from the front of the body, back of the body, stretching the spine. When we come to the back, stretching the underarms, pulling the rib cage away from the pelvis, stretching your torso, the front and the back of the body. You could have a bolster or something underneath your belly or not. So do what's appropriate for you. For some people, having the bolster is a little bit more forgiving when they come forward. It's a lot deeper stretch if you flow through this without a prop. So put one there if you need that. We're going to begin here in puppy dog so that you understand you're not rounding your spine. You're not coming into child's pose. You push. This is an extension when you're in a back bend. So when you come back into puppy dog, you want to activate your core, pushing your belly up towards your spine. That adds flexion to the lumbar spine, the low back. And then you want to lead with your tailbone, bending the hip joint. The tushy stays in the air. The pelvis stays in the air. It doesn't come down to your heels. Forehead touches the floor. This is your exhale. As you inhale, bringing yourself up, rolling slowly through the shoulders and through the hips. Bringing yourself forward, let your pelvis and your belly button come closer to the floor. Open your throat. Exhale, belly button to spine, tailbone leads the way. Have your arms spread pretty wide here. Keep your elbows straight. Only let your pelvis move in the appropriate range of motion for your body. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Inhale forward, exhale back. Close your eyes, go to your spine. You're lengthening your spine when you come back. When you come forward, open your throat, stretch the front of your spine. Open and stretch the front of your spine. Last time forward, inhaling forward. Stay there for a couple of breaths. Push away from the ground with your hands. Push your heart forward. Open your throat, breathe down to your belly. Feel your low ribs moving away from your pelvis. Inhale. As you exhale, contract your core. Push your belly button up towards your spine. Bring your pelvis back. Lower belly towards the top thighs. Forehead on the ground. Stay here. Arms are straight. Press the hands into the ground. Open your fingers. Spread your fingers. Take one more breath. Bring your head up. Walk your hands over to the right. Both hands are over to the right. Walk them over and then spread the hands. Keep the arms straight. Let your head rest on your left arm. Push your pelvis to the left. So press your left hip to the left. Feel that stretch on the left side of your body, the lateral chain. Let your head rest. Arms are straight. If the low back is not happy, push the belly button to the low back, point the tailbone straight back towards the wall behind you and a little downward. Breathe into your left side. Bring yourself back up. Walk yourself back to center and then all the way over to the left. Hands are straight. Spread your hands, bending your hips a little deeper. Let your head rest on your right arm. Push your pelvis to the right. Feel that stretch on the right side. Breathe to your right side. Take one more breath. Walk yourself back to neutral. Let your forehead touch the ground. Spread your hands. Open the front of your spine. Push your heart towards the ground. It's the nose and the forehead that touch the ground, not the crown of the head. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, all the way up, come all the way up. So that's definitely a lot of upper body, a lot of shoulder stretching. So make sure that feels appropriate for you. If you have shoulder issues, of course, modify being in your body to listen to what's appropriate. Let's stretch the side of the body and come into the hip as well. Take your foot out to the side and point your toenails forward. Have your leg coming straight off your body if you can. And then add a little movement in your pelvis here, side to side, a little sway, stretching that hip joint, trying to add a little flexion in that side hip area. Doing what feels appropriate for you. This is actually the side that I have my hip replacement in. So I'm in my hip joint, feeling what I can feel, right? I can't feel the metal, the ceramic, or the plastic parts. I feel it moving. Just making sure that whatever I'm doing, whatever position I put my body in is safe. And I do feel very safe, just really bringing that awareness. So bring your awareness to your hip joint, to the side of your hip. This is where the DEXA scan reading is. It looks at the end of the top part of the femur, looks at the neck of the femur. So right here, trying to get some movement here in the side, pulling and pushing on muscles in the side of your body. We do a lot of work here for osteoporosis in the pelvis and in the hip joint to create bone building stimulation. So when you sway, it is the pelvis that's moving. It's not the body. You're not moving your body. This leg stays stationary, this leg stays stationary, and you're moving your pelvis, which is going to actually stretch this hip joint here. Bring yourself so that you come to be upright in your pelvis. Try to bring some kind of bend in that hip joint. Take your hand on this leg, the other hand to the side. Exhale, and then inhale. Palm is up towards the sky, reaching up towards the sky, straight up, and let your hands slide down your leg. Press your heart forward. Deep breaths down to your pelvis. Try to unbend the standing hip leg. So push that hip forward. Really stretch your body here. If your shoulder's not happy, you could bend your arm and let your elbow lead. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself out, noticing what you notice there. Bring your legs back to neutral. Let's go to the other side. Take your foot out to the side, toes are forward, arch off the ground, and start to coax some movement here into this hip. It's not a natural movement. We're not naturally bending our hip in this way. So get a little lubrication in there, get a little stretch in there, increase the range of motion. When we increase the range of motion in our joints, we actually make them more safe and less likely to fracture because they can receive the energy of a slip, trip, stumble, or fall without pulling on the bones too much to fracture them, which is what happens in a stress fracture. So really get your pelvis to move in whatever way you can, noticing what you notice here about your body. And then come here so you get as much of a bend in that hip as possible, lining your pelvis up nicely here. Toes are pointing forward, foot is active. Take your hand on your thigh, open your front chest, take your hand down alongside the body, exhale, and then inhale to reach up. Try to unbend the hip that you're on, the standing leg hip. Press your heart forward, feel the stretch in your body. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself out. Bring yourself into a resting position. If your knees still bend, sit on your heels. If they don't, you could stay up in that kneeling position. Shake your hands. So we're going to come on to some postures. We hold the postures for 30 seconds. That creates a lot of great stimulation for the muscles and the bones to respond and to get stronger for you. That's really good amount of stimulation. So let's have the blanket here. We're going to come into the first posture, which is plank, a regular plank. So the pointer fingers are forward, the arms are underneath the shoulders. You take the feet back. So the full plank would be like this. The modification for those that need that would be that the lower legs are on the ground and so are the toes. And then you really support your torso. So let's come into the plank wherever you would like, whatever's appropriate for your body.
Spread your fingers, push your fingers away from the ground, or push your body away with the fingers. Both hands, right and left. And then bring your awareness to the left foot to make sure that all the toes are touching, even the pinky toe. And then the same thing with the right. Push away from the ground with both feet. Push your feet back so you're pushing through your heels. Press the feet into the floor, the hands into the floor, and try to slide the feet and the hands towards each other. Really deeply activate those flexor muscles in your core. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Definitely a little longer than 30 seconds. Let's come on to our tushy. We're going to push away from the floor the opposite direction, which is a reverse plank, strengthening the back of the body. Hands, ideally, fingers are towards your pelvis, so you could let your shoulder blades really support your upper body. If the wrists are unhappy, you could turn them out to the side, but make sure that you do not collapse your chest. You want your chest to be active and lifted. You want that front spine to be supported. That's where most of the fractures and osteoporosis occurs, in the front of the spine. Take your hands, spread your fingers, take your feet, take an exhale, and then inhale, push away from the ground, lift your pelvis up, try to get to a flat position if you can, pushing your feet into the ground, pushing your hands into the ground. Lift your chest. Make sure you push evenly in the feet and the hands. Take one more breath. Bringing yourself down, bringing yourself out. Stretch your wrists. We're going to come down onto the ground, so take your blanket to the top of your mat. And then we're going to use the strap. So you want to loop your strap before you go down. This is the loop here, about this distance here, which if you put your arms in, try that, you get it. When you put your arms in, you push out, you're going to feel the shoulder girdle activate. So pushing out here on the strap about this size. Bring yourself onto your bottom, and then to the side, and then all the way down onto the floor. Bring the blanket underneath your head. Let's draw the knees in one at a time, rocking side to side. Then bring your feet onto the ground. So we're going to do the bridge posture, pushing away from the ground. We're going to use the strap because that'll help to activate the lateral chain, the side body, and the posterior chain, the back of the body. Let's take the strap. You're going to put your feet through the strap. Bring the strap above the thighs. And push out on the strap so that when your legs are here in the air, you see that your legs are not wider than your body. So make sure your strap is not too wide. Then you bring your feet onto the ground. Walk them closer to your body. Reaching up, take the blanket away from your head. Lengthen your head or away from your body so your neck is nice and long. Then slide from side to side so the shoulder blades could slide closer to each other, to the spine. Hands could be straight down to the ground like this, or you could bend your elbows. And whatever you do, you're pushing your hands or your upper arm bones into the ground to help support lifting the weight of the upper torso away from the ground. So walk the feet as close as you can get them to your body. Begin by pushing out on the strap, pressing your low back to the spine, lower back to the floor. Exhale. Squeeze the tushy, push away from the ground as you inhale to peel your spine up and away from the ground. Push out on the strap, squeeze the tushy, press your arms into the ground, lift your rib cage away as much as you can, adding as much of a back bend to the upper spine as you can. Heart towards your nose, reaching, stretching your knees away from you, trying to unbend the hip joint. Deep breaths. Push away with both arms and feet. Press away, add more of a back bend. Take one more breath. When you come down, let it be slow, pressing one vertebra at a time down towards the ground. And when you get to the lower ribs, lift your heels off. So you could try to press the low back into the ground before the pelvis. Lengthening your low back. Bring your blanket back up behind your head. Draw your knees into your chest. Bring your legs back onto the ground. We're going to roll onto our bellies to do the locust posture. So moving the blanket away from the head, you're going to roll over onto your belly. Bring yourself up first into your sphinx to arrange yourself. This is called sphinx posture. Let your toenails touch the ground. Push your arms into the ground and stretch your rib cage away from your pelvis. And then bring yourself down onto the ground. Rest your head in your hands. One hand on top of the other. Elbows are straight out towards the side. Spine is long. Let the forehead rest on the back of the hands. Exhale. As you inhale, push your pubis bone, the very bottom part of your pelvis, into the floor and lift your head straight up. Let the upper back lift up the highest, or let the upper back and the head be in the same level. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Push your pubis bone into the ground. That's going to train you to protect your low back when you do this back work. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Bring yourself back down. Take your forehead onto the ground. Arms are down alongside your body. You either keep your hands here and you lift up in your locust with your hands and your legs and your body, or you clasp your hands, sliding your shoulder blades towards each other. And when you lift up, you keep your hands away from your body. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. Push out on your strap. Push the pubis bone towards the ground. Exhale. And then inhale, lift. Lifting up against gravity, strengthening the back of your body. Pressing the back of the vertebra into itself, creating spinal bone building stimulation. So lift high and press the back of the spine into itself. Push the pubis bone into the floor. Push out on the strap. Take one more breath. Lift as high as you can. Press the spine into itself. And then slowly lower down. Fold the hands, elbows out to the side. Rest the forehead on the hands. Deep breaths down to your belly. That'll help to relieve low back discomfort. Notice if your heart rate is accelerating. When we do these multi-muscular actions, it accelerates the heart. And the practice of yoga should balance between effort and ease. So breathe down to your belly slowly. Bring in oxygen and slow down your heart rate. Take one more breath. Bring your blanket back so that when you roll onto your belly, your head will be on the blanket. Draw your knees in, take your strap off. Knees to the chest, side to side. And come onto your side. Use your hand, use your elbow to push yourself up away from the ground. So let's proceed. We just did 2 back bends, and a counter posture for that is twisting. I'm going to use one of the stronger twists. When we twist, we actually strengthen the core and we strengthen the back, we strengthen the spine. We have the spine rotationally pulling on itself, so forces from many different angles. It's the best way to strengthen your spine is through rotational force. So let's take the blanket, and if your knees are bendable, so if your knees are bendable, you're only going to sit with one tushy on the corner of the blanket. But if you have knees that won't bend, you're going to need to do the straight leg seated twist. And if your knees are bendable, then you could do the kind of more of like a pretzel twist. You're going to need your black block handy as well. So bring your block out. So I will do this starting with my right tushy cheek. My right tushy cheek will be on the blanket. So the right buttock is on the blanket. The right knee, the right leg is going to bend, and the right heel will come underneath the left buttock. So I have the left tushy cheek on my heel, and the right tushy cheek is being supported by the blanket. And then the left leg comes up and over the right leg. If your knee doesn't bend, keep your right leg straight, and you could do this like that with a straight leg. But then you need to sit on the blanket with both buttocks. So you need your tushy supported with the blanket on one side, the heel on the other, and the block is going to come onto the left side. We're going to rotate over that leg that's up in the air, and in this case, it's the left. Take your hands, fold your hands, hold onto your left leg. In order to be safe with your spinal rotation, you need to be lengthened and in a slight back bend. So no rounded position when you do a twist. Long spine, open front spine. Take your right hand onto your left leg, nice and tall in your body. Take your left hand on the block behind you or on the ground. Push and get tall in your spine. Take an exhale. As you inhale, the lower ribs, the middle ribs, and the upper ribs rotate to the left. Use the right hand to help create the forces. Push away from the ground. Let the left arm be bent. You're not leaning on that left hand. You're pushing away from the ground. Stretching the posterior hip capsule on the left side and
stretching the spine. Lower your shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, press the shoulder blades towards the heart to lift your heart, lengthen your upper spine. Press down with your shoulders, down with your hands, and lift up with your spine. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly bringing yourself out. Bring your block off to the side. Left leg off. We're going to switch, so the blanket is going to go to the left side. So you can put your left buttock on the blanket. Bend your left leg, left heel underneath the right buttock. Right butt cheek is on the left heel. Left buttock is being supported by the blanket. Right leg goes up and over. And then you use your block at the back to push down to get length. So you go from any kind of position that caused you to collapse, pushing away from the ground, using the hand to help lift your body here. Exhale. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Lower your shoulders. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other strongly. Push the shoulder blades to lift your heart. Push down with your foot, down with your leg, down with your hand, down with your shoulders, and then lift up with your spine and your heart. Long spine, one more breath. Slowly bringing yourself out. Come all the way out. Take your blanket, top of your mat, coming to the edge of your blanket, reaching down, grabbing the flesh to bring your buttocks back, or the flesh back, so you can sit on your tailbone area. Toes are up towards the sky, legs are pressing into the ground. Take your hands down alongside your body or bring them up to the sides. Press your legs into the ground, lift your heart. Staff pose. This is a pose of posture. Head is on top of the spine, heart is lifting, arms are alongside your body. Push down with your legs, down with your pelvis, and up with your spine. Let your shoulder blades slide towards the heart and lift and serve the heart up. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Take your legs, shake, shake, shake. And then bring yourself up. Let's take our blanket. Bring the blanket onto the ground. Come onto your knees. Take your hands on the ground. We're going to come into side plank. This is a challenge. So this is actually coming onto the side of the body. And it's pretty hard. It's probably one of the hardest ones that I do for my own self. So that's the posture. If you know that you need to go slowly, you could come into a modification, keeping the bottom leg on the ground and coming in. This is a half moon, strengthening the lateral chain, a little bit more gentle. So you're going to choose what you'd like. You're going to take your hands, point your fingers are forward, bring one foot back, bring the other foot back. Lift the pelvis up and roll onto the pinky toe edge of one side. Bring your arm up towards the sky and then push away from the ground with the pinky toe edge. Lengthen your spine, press your heart forward. One more breath. Bring yourself out. And let's come to the other side. Hands are on the ground. Pointer fingers are forward. Feet come back, one and then the other. Lift the pelvis up, roll onto the pinky toe edge, loading up the side body. Press away from the ground, come into your side plank here. Don't forget to smile. One more breath. And then bring yourself out. Bring yourself all the way up. Definitely a big posture. Let your heart rate come back. Let's take the hands down alongside the body. Exhale. Inhale, bring the hands up towards the shoulders. Let them find each other. Exhale down to your heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep your hands here. Close your eyes if you'd like. One more breath. Take your hands down. Stay here. Have your strap handy and your block. Maybe getting your block a little higher and ready your strap either on top of it or near it. We're going to come to standing. Bring a foot forward. Walk it forward, forward. Flip the back toes under. Take your hands on your thighs. Take an inhale. And then to exhale, you push away, coming forward, loading up that front leg and coming up gracefully. We're going to prepare our space, bending down, using your hips and your knees. So you use the props here. Like this. So bring your props, you're going to hold on to your props. So you're going to need your props for this one. The block is going to go between your legs, and you're going to use your strap. We're going to load up our hips, load up our pelvis. One of the stronger postures that strengthens the pelvis, the hips, the abdominals, the spine. And using the strap, we're going to really fire up the upper support aspect of this. The shoulder blades are on the upper back, and they're like two wings right up here in their body. You want to pull the tips of your wings towards the center of your spine and down towards your tailbone. You want to zipper up your midsection, your core, to protect your low back. Then we're going to load up our hips here. Focus on deep hip flexion, which is where we should be bending safely for our body, for our bones. So squeezing the block, your toes are pointing forward. You're going to zipper up your belly. So zipper up your belly. Slide your arms, your shoulder blades towards the center and down towards the pelvis. Zipper up your belly. Then you're going to push your pelvis back as you bend your hip joint. Bend your hip joint like you're sitting back down on a seat. And then lift your arms up and push out on the strap. Your knees should be over your feet. So look down with your head, keep your arms up. You should be able to see your toes and maybe most of the top of your foot. Zipper, zipper, zipper up your pelvis. Press out on the strap, reach your arms high. Deep breaths. Bend a little deeper if you can. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up and out. Take your props off to the side. Posture of alignment to Tadasana. Sorry. I have a tickle in my throat. Okay. Mountain posture Tadasana is a posture of alignment. So let's find that alignment in the body. Toes are pointing forward, hands are down alongside your body. Push your feet into the ground. Push your hands down. Zipper up your midsection. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine, and make sure your head is on top of your spine. Chin is parallel towards the ground. If you're able to close your eyes, go into your body, go down to your feet. Notice where your weight distribution is. Is it equal in both feet? Be curious. If your eyes are closed, blink them open. Let's come into a balanced posture, tree. So moving over to one side, come onto the tippy toes. The knee goes out to the side. Bring the foot up if you can, in between the ankle and the knee. Zipper up your midsection, push down with your foot, push down with your hands. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your heart, zipper up your core. Find something to gaze at that doesn't move. Take one more breath. Bring your knee forward, foot back down onto the ground. Toes are pointing forward. Reach your hands down, reach your feet down. Bend your other knee, knee out to the side. Bring the foot up in between the ankle and the knee. Push your foot down, get tall. Push your hands down. Lengthen your spine. Stack your joints. Zipper up your core. And then find your gaze, your focus. Take one more breath. Bring your knee forward, come out, and then shake. Release tension, release stress in the mind and the body. So let's get rid of the stress. We're going to do a whoosh, W-H-O-O-S-H, extended exhale. Let it release anything and everything that came up today in the practice. Fatigue, a negative mind, anything that came up. Let's release it with a whoosh. Okay, so let your feet be planted deeply. Grab from up here in the mind energy, the side mind energy, the back mind energy, the body energy from the side, anything. Just grab. Now hold it really, really tight. Take a super big inhale all the way down to your feet. Whoosh. Releasing it, letting it go. We're going to come down and do the final posture. One of the most, if not the most important postures, Shavasana. Posture of integration, allowing all of this, the new body you created today, the stimulation that's happening in your body, to actually integrate. It's called the posture of integration, Shavasana. So gather what you need for your Shavasana. Coming down onto the ground, doing any final last minute, anything you need. You can bring your knees into the chest if your body wants that, or come into the posture, whatever your body needs, find it. Let go, let go.
Bring your awareness to your breath as you deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rolling your ankles, your wrists. Bending the knees one at a time. Turn the knees into your chest, moving side to side. Coming onto your side. Taking your hand on the ground, pushing yourself up to a seated position. Closing your eyes, letting your hands find each other right in front of your heart. Press your heart to your hands to your heart. Long spine. We'll close with sound, a sound, vibrating, releasing nitric oxide, which helps to increase vasodilation. It's good for your heart, good for everything, allowing everything to flow. Let's take a big exhale to create space. Inhale. In gratitude, namaste. Today's practice was definitely strong. I rate my classes strong, stronger, and strongest. This is in the strongest category. This is the strongest postures that we're going to do to create the most pulling or pushing in the bones. And there's a lot of muscular use in today's practice. And when we use the muscles like that, we're going to strengthen the muscles. Stronger muscles need to have stronger, heavy bones to carry them. So today's practice definitely on the stronger side. Pay attention today to see what your energy levels are. Was this appropriate for you? And then modify according to your needs. All right, so I hope you're still here. Wendy, was that Wendy? Yes. I'd like to hear how that was for you. Carolyn, yep, it was strong, right? So wonder if Wendy is still here. Yeah, perfect. How was that for you, Wendy? I don't know you. I don't know what your ability is. I do know Stevie and Carolyn. I know they're very strong, and I've never met Tatiana either. So I hope that was appropriate. I hope that I give enough instruction for modifications if it was too much. Really nice to have you here. Good, Tatiana. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm here every Thursday. I teach 5 classes a week. Osteoporosis, I teach 3 classes for osteo. One of them is through a hospital in Southern California on Zoom. So we'll actually talk and I get to meet you and see you. The next session for that starts in a few weeks. So on my website is all the information about my classes. You have to sign up for those classes on the website. And I'm on 3 YouTube classes a week.
This is definitely the strongest one. The other two are mostly on the floor, really doing a lot of functional work for the body. Great. Perfect. Yeah, isn't that great? And Stevie's pretty strong, so it got her heart rate up. Got my heart rate up too, especially some of those bigger ones that we do. All right, well, really nice to have you. We're all here getting our muscles and bones stronger together. We're all focusing on healthy aging, which is fantastic. So thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting you one day in person or seeing you in something else. Have a great day.